David Thomas suffered a deeply abusive childhood. He went off the rails as a teenager. He attempted suicide, was expelled from school, and received a criminal conviction. He turned his life around, and his story is a fascinating journey from dead-end jobs to the fire service to the World Memory Championships to becoming an international speaker and trainer, helping leaders in their communication skills. I've known David 10 years, and in this episode, David shares his journey and how he overcame adversity, achieved everything he has achieved. It's really inspiring for anybody who's facing challenges in work or in life. A massive welcome to the TRM podcast to David Thomas. Thank you for joining us, David, all the way from the northeast.
No, I'm not quite in the northeast. I'm in the north.
Oh.
Northeast is like another 150 miles up, you know.
Oh.
We're like the Midlands, really. We're in the centre of the country.
So listen, two things that are unique about you as a podcast guest. A, you're the first person I've had on this podcast that's had a direct influence on my kids, and we'll come back to that a bit later.
Fantastic.
And secondly, you're the only person that Oprah Winfrey has given a quote about, saying, I think the words were that you've earned your place in history for your superior mind. That's a pretty good quote.
Yeah, well, the Americans are not short of superlatives, are they? And I was like, go for it, say whatever you like. And that was a belter. It's one of those things, if you say it about yourself, you cringe and want to crawl under the table. But, it's nice when somebody else says it.
Yeah, brilliant. Anyway, great to have you on. So we're going to talk all about presentation, communication, influence, and impact, where you spend a lot of your time at the moment. But I can't not have you share your journey a little bit, because I think everything that I've understood and read about you, it's sort of shaped a little bit how you are, which I guess is true for most of us. But do you want to talk us through the journey that got you to become getting quotes like that off Oprah, being a Guinness World Record holder, and doing what you do today?
Well, the potted history is that terrible childhood. That was just, ginger and being from Halifax didn't help. But the thing is, it wasn't. My mother was an alcoholic. My stepfather was a brute. He was 65 years old when I was 6. It was terrible upbringing. And then 16, it all fell apart, got into trouble, petty theft, getting in trouble with the law, kicked out, ended up in a factory for £1 an hour, packing Christmas gifts into boxes. And that was my first job. 20, joined the fire service, life-changing. Biggest transformation I've ever had, because it was the first time that I'd had self-respect, but also got respect for other people. So being a northern working class lad, that was top of the food chain, but I wasn't very good at passing my exams. And I'll use the quote that I use in every talk I give, which is, I had a nickname because everybody has a nickname in the fire service. And mine was Thrombo, which was short for thrombosis, as in a slow-moving clot, which is brutal and hilarious at the same time. So absolutely my sense of humor. But I couldn't pass the promotion exams, so I didn't think I was going to pass. Nobody said, if you studied, do accelerated learning or anything like that, you could potentially pass. They just went, you're not good enough to pass. I was like, fair enough, because I didn't really care. And I think motivation almost always comes from pain and fear rather than pleasure. It's rare that we're moving towards pleasure. It's more like we're running away from something. And that's been shown statistically as well. It's about 4 to 1. So 4 times as many people, when they go through big change, do it through because of pain and fear, not because of moving towards pleasure. I didn't have any pain, so I just thought I was going to be 30 years, firefighter, retire at 50, happy days. And then one day I'm watching TV, saw a guy memorize a pack of playing cards. I thought it would be quite cool to teach myself. Bought his book, taught myself. 8 months later, came down to the big smoke, and I came forth in the world. And my life changed in a weekend. On the Friday, it was a hobby in my back bedroom. Monday, I'm getting read by 1 million people in the Times. I go back to work. Boss pulls me in. What's all this memory stuff? Do you want to teach it? No, I don't. He went, come on, you got to teach it. I went, no, I don't want to teach it. So he pushed me into it. And the first meeting was a great success. Did it in the fire service. And I just thought it'd be too geeky, too peripheral, too soft.
Yeah.
I don't think people would really find any interest in memory, speed reading, and mind mapping, which is what I taught. But they did. So I thought maybe I could do this commercially, and I went out and started contacting companies. didn't have a computer, didn't have the internet, literally went to the library, got a book, found all the top companies in West Yorkshire, phoned them up, Asda, Morrison's, whatever. They all said, why would we want a memory guy? And I went, that's the best question I've heard all day, and I have no answer to that. So I just kept on phoning, and eventually a jacuzzi manufacturer, booked me in Bradford. So that started off the speaking. The memory side, went back to the World Championships in 97, came third. 98, I did the Guinness record for reciting pi to 22,500 digits. Left the memory stuff for a bit, came back in 04, did 100 packs of playing cards. 07, had a green card, was living in America, became US memory champion. And I kind of left it there, although I still teach it. I've been teaching it now for nearly 27 years. And and it just triggered everything. The Guinness record was the thing that triggered it.
Yeah.
Because as I always say, people need to understand what it is that you're trying to get across. And when I was talking about the World Memory Championships, they looked a bit puzzled. What does that mean? And I said, well, it's a bit like a decathlon, this 10 event. The moment you have to explain something, it doesn't work. Not as well. But when I said I'd done a Guinness record, they went, I get that. Everybody's heard of Guinness. Reciting pi, we all learn that at school. Every school in the world teaches it. 22,500 digits, they know that is a boatload of numbers. So the thing is that they got it, and that just then it's been the best business card I've ever had, because it gets my foot through the door. Because people value excellence. That's why awards in any industry are important. If you're the best in the country at what you do, even if it's just a panel of 3 people who choose it, it doesn't matter. Even if it's a highly subjective opinion, if you're the #1 recruitment firm in the country, according to XYZ poll or this award ceremony, it matters. It just does. Because people want to see something that separates you through. And that was it then. I just kind of carried on doing it. 12 years ago, I was with a client, and they said, would you do presentation skills? And I just went, I don't do that. Get somebody else. I've never done it. And she went, I want you. And I said, well, first of all, tell me why. She says, because you are brutal. You will absolutely take me apart, put me back together. And secondly, you're a sensational speaker. So if you can reverse engineer what you do and then teach me how you do it. And I said, fair enough. I said, well, we'll spend a day together. If it's crap, don't pay me. And I still have a video testimonial from the very first day, 12 years ago. And she said, this is great. You should book Dave. So then I go to all my clients thinking of all. And what was interesting about presentation skills, and this is interesting in business, when I was doing the brain training, nobody had heard of it or nobody really did it. When I put forward to my clients doing presentation skills, I said to them, have you done presentation skills before? 100% went, yeah. I went, why would you do it again? Because it's like having a shower, Dave. You need to keep doing it. It's like, fine. And so I found my way into, so I've worked with companies now. I've worked on $500 million worth of investment and sales pitches. I've worked with people speaking at the Houses of Parliament, trying to get the law change in their industry. And now 90% of my work is working with C-suite or sales and marketing teams on presentation skills.
Right, I'm going to go back over a couple of things there, Dave, because some of them you went over pretty quick. But how do this memory thing? So listen, you're a guy but you said I think you failed your A levels, didn't you? So, yeah. But then suddenly you stumble across this thing, I can learn a pack of cards, which became 100 packs of cards, which became 22,500 numbers as part of pi. What is it about your brain that is different, or is it pure effort and ambition and hard work?
Well, I had my brain tested in 2002. So my assumption was my brain must be wired at least a bit different.
Yeah.
Research study we were all part of in University College in London, 2002, and they said your brain is the same as everybody else's. So I thought I was special, but apparently not. It was just the same. The size of it, the number of connections, everything else. There were some things that came out of that study which we were interested in. One is that the amount of my brain that I use is different to normal. So most people don't use the creative side, for example. So they'll spend 99% of the time looking at spreadsheets, looking at words, looking at lists, doing a job. But, when I say to companies, how often do you have, creativity days or staff away days where you do like blue sky thinking, and then they go like twice a year? So out of 230 working days, 1%